The bridge of the UES Defiance hummed with quiet activity as Admiral Jake Morrison stared out at the stars. It was supposed to be a peaceful Tuesday morning, with routine patrols and training exercises on the schedule. That changed when Lieutenant Amy Brooks rushed to his side with a tablet showing impossible readings. "Sir, we have multiple contacts appearing on our sensors. Thousands of them." Jake took the tablet and felt his stomach drop. The screen showed red dots filling the space, around Earth like angry wasps around a disturbed nest. Each dot represented a ship, and there were more ships than Earth had ever seen in one place. "How many?" he asked, though he dreaded the answer. 3,000 and counting, sir. They're still appearing." Captain Lisa Ward was in her quarters when the emergency alarm echoed through the ship. She had been writing another report about her failed diplomatic missions to the Galactic Confederation, 3 years of trying to establish peaceful contact, 3 years of being treated like a child asking adults for permission to sit at their table. The aliens had made it clear that humans were not welcome in their galactic community. Every attempt at negotiation had been met with dismissal or outright laughter. The reptilian Vorthak Empire, which led the Confederation, considered humans to be violent primitives who had no business among civilized species. Lisa rushed to the bridge just as the first alien transmission began broadcasting across every screen on Earth. The face that appeared was distinctly reptilian, with cold yellow eyes and scales that gleamed under harsh lighting. When it spoke, its voice was filled with the kind of certainty that comes from never being challenged. "Humans of Earth," the alien said, its forked tongue flickering between words. "I am Commander Cicerak of the Vorthak Empire. Your species has been found guilty of unauthorized expansion and aggressive behavior. You have ignored our warnings and continued to spread beyond your home system like a disease." Jake Morrison clenched his fists as he watched the broadcast. The aliens were talking about humanity's small colonies on Mars and the Moon as if they were acts of war. "You have 72 hours to surrender unconditionally," Commander Cicerak continued. "Disarm your military, abandon your colonies, and submit to Confederation authority. Refuse and your species will be eliminated. We have brought enough ships to turn your planet into dust. Do not test our resolve." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Amy Brooks was the first to speak. "Sir, should we contact Earth Command?" "They already know," Jake replied grimly. "That broadcast went to every screen on the planet." Dr. Alex Carter was in his laboratory when the alien message played on his computer screen. He had been working on classified projects for Earth's defense, research division, projects that officially didn't exist. As he watched the reptilian commander make his threats, Alex felt a cold smile spread across his face. The aliens thought they knew everything about human capabilities. They had observed Earth's military from a distance and concluded that humanity posed no real threat. Their intelligence reports probably listed human weapons as primitive projectile systems and basic energy weapons. They were wrong. Alex picked up his secure phone and dialed a number that connected him directly to President Karen Bell's office. The phone rang twice before she answered. "Dr. Carter," the president said, her voice tense. "I assume you saw the broadcast?" "Yes, ma'am." "How long before you convene the Global Defense Council?" "They're already gathering. I need to know if we're ready." Alex looked around his laboratory at the equipment that had taken 15 years to develop. Quantum computers hummed quietly in the corner, running calculations that would have been impossible just a decade ago. On his desk lay blueprints for weapons that existed nowhere in Confederation databases. "We're ready," he said simply. Captain Lisa Ward found herself in an emergency meeting with Admiral Morrison and the senior staff. The mood in the room was grim but determined. "The aliens think they know us," Lisa said, reviewing her diplomatic files. "During my negotiations, they repeatedly dismissed human capabilities. They believe our ships are crude, our weapons primitive, and our tactics predictable." "What exactly do they know about our military?" asked Colonel Ryan Hayes, Earth's defense coordinator. "Only what we've allowed them to see. Our public fleet, specifications, basic weapon capabilities, standard patrol routes. They've never seen our classified projects or hidden installations." Admiral Morrison nodded slowly. So they're planning this attack based on incomplete information. Worse than that, Lisa continued. They're planning it based on deliberately misleading information. Every time they scanned our ships, we made sure they saw exactly what we wanted them to see. The truth was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since first contact protocols were established. The diplomatic missions hadn't just been attempts at peace. They had been intelligence-gathering operations disguised as negotiations. Chief Engineer Megan Torres joined the meeting via secure video link from her facility on Luna. Behind her, technicians worked frantically at control stations monitoring systems throughout the solar system. The hidden platforms are online and ready, she reported. The aliens have no idea they're surrounded by our own weapons. Dr. Alex Carter's face appeared on another screen. Quantum weapons are charged and targeting systems are active. We've run the calculations 3 times. We can handle their numbers. President. Karen Bell's voice came through the speakers from Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, the Global Defense Council has made its decision. We will not surrender to alien demands. We will defend Earth and human freedom. The room fell silent as the weight of the decision settled on everyone present. They were about to go to war with an alien empire that controlled hundreds of star systems. Admiral Morrison stood and walked to the viewport, looking out at the alien fleet surrounding Earth. The ships were massive, sleek vessels that looked like they could crack planets in half. There were so many of them that they blocked out portions of the starfield. They wanted to avoid diplomacy, he said quietly. They ignored our attempts at peaceful contact. They dismissed our ambassadors and treated our people like animals. He turned back to face his officers. Now they're going to learn what happens when you corner a species that's been fighting for survival since it first stood upright. Lieutenant Amy Brooks checked her instruments one more time. Sir, we're receiving multiple communications from the alien fleet. They're demanding our immediate surrender. Jake Morrison smiled grimly. Tell them we're still thinking about it. Give them something to think about, too. The next 72 hours would determine whether humanity earned its place among the stars or became another footnote in the Confederation's history books. But looking around at his crew, Jake felt something the aliens probably couldn't understand. Hope. Humans had always been at their best when the odds were against them. Colonel Ryan Hayes stood in the command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as screens around the world showed the same scene: panic in the streets. People ran from their homes, traffic jammed the highways, and news reporters struggled to make sense of the alien ultimatum. But Ryan wasn't watching the chaos. He was watching the other screens, the ones that showed a very different picture. Across the globe, military installations that didn't officially exist were coming online. Soldiers who had trained for this exact scenario were moving to their positions. Activate Protocol 7, Ryan said into his headset. Around the solar system, mining stations that had operated quietly for years suddenly revealed their true purpose. What looked like simple asteroid mining equipment was actually the most advanced weapon system humanity had ever built. Chief Engineer Megan Torres was at the Luna facility when the activation order came through. She had spent the last 10 years overseeing the construction of Project Prometheus, a network of hidden weapon platforms disguised as civilian installations. All stations report ready, her assistant told her. The aliens still think we're just mining rocks. Megan smiled as she looked at the tactical display. The Vorthak fleet had positioned themselves in what they thought was a perfect attack formation. They had no idea they were sitting in the middle of a carefully planned trap. The mining station on Ceres had been operating for 8 years, shipping ice and rare metals back to Earth. The alien scouts had scanned it dozens of times and found nothing but standard mining equipment. They had no way of knowing that the massive drilling apparatus could rotate 90 degrees and become a railgun capable of firing projectiles at 10% of light speed. Dr. Alex Carter was in his laboratory, making final adjustments to the quantum targeting system. The technology was based on principles that the Galactic Confederation had declared impossible. Their scientists had published papers proving that quantum entanglement couldn't be used for faster-than-light communication. They were wrong about that too. Final test complete, Alex announced to his team. All quantum nodes are synchronized. We now have instantaneous communication and targeting across the entire solar system. His assistant, Dr. Jenny Walsh, looked up from her computer. The aliens are still using subspace radio. There will be a 3-second delay in their communications between ships. 3 seconds might as well be 3 hours in a space battle, Alex replied. Lieutenant Commander Ben Phillips was in the pilot ready room, aboard the carrier U.S. Liberty, briefing his squadron for what might be their final mission. His pilots were young, eager, and trained in tactics that no alien military academy had ever taught. Remember, Ben told them, everything they know about human fighters comes from our training videos and public demonstrations. They think our ships are slow, clumsy, and limited to basic maneuvers. Pilot Sarah Blake raised her hand. What about their superior numbers, sir? Numbers don't matter if you can't hit your target, Ben replied with a grin. Our ships may look simple, but they have something the aliens don't expect. Adaptive AI systems that learn and improve during combat. The fighters looked ordinary, from the outside. The aliens had scanned them and found standard fusion engines, basic weapons, and simple navigation systems. What they hadn't detected were the quantum processors hidden inside the hull, processors that could calculate attack patterns and defensive maneuvers in real time. Captain Lisa Ward was studying the intelligence reports from her 3 years of diplomatic missions. Every meeting, every scan, every seemingly failed negotiation had provided valuable information about alien technology and tactics. Their ships are incredibly advanced, she told Admiral Morrison, but they're also incredibly specialized. Each vessel has a specific role and can't adapt if the situation changes. What do you mean? Jake asked. Their military doctrine is based on overwhelming force and rigid hierarchy. They've never faced an enemy that could adapt faster than their command structure could respond. Lisa pulled up a tactical analysis on her tablet. Look at their formation. It's textbook Confederation battle doctrine, designed to crush resistance through superior firepower, but it assumes the enemy will respond in predictable ways. Dr. Alex Carter's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, we're ready to begin the demonstration. Jake Morrison nodded to his communications officer. Open a channel to the alien fleet. Commander Cesaric appeared on the main screen, his reptilian features twisted in what might have been amusement. Have you decided to surrender, human? Your time grows short. We've been thinking about your offer, Jake replied calmly. We wanted to show you something first. On the tactical display, one of the disguised mining stations near Jupiter began to move. What the aliens had cataloged as a simple asteroid processing facility started to unfold like a mechanical flower. Hidden panels opened to reveal weapon systems that defied everything the Confederation knew about human technology. Commander Sarac's amusement disappeared. What is this trickery? No tricks, Jake said. Just things your scouts missed during their scans. The mining station's drilling apparatus rotated to point directly at the alien fleet. Energy readings that should have been impossible for human technology began building up along its length. Across the solar system, similar transformations were taking place. The agricultural dome on Mars extended antenna arrays that revealed themselves to be targeting systems. The research station orbiting Saturn activated engines that were far more powerful than any human ship was supposed to possess. This is impossible, Commander Cesaric hissed. Our intelligence reports show that humans lack the technology for such weapons. Your intelligence reports show what we wanted them to show, Jake replied. Chief Engineer Megan Torres was coordinating the reveal from her command center. All stations report ready for combat operations, she announced. The aliens are scanning frantically, but they still can't penetrate our quantum shielding. Dr. Alex Carter added his report. Quantum targeting locks established on all alien vessels. They're trying to jam our communications, but they don't understand the technology they're fighting. The alien fleet began to move, their formation shifting as commanders tried to understand what they were facing. Ships that had been confident in their superiority now found themselves surrounded by weapons they hadn't known existed. Lieutenant Commander Ben Phillips received his final orders. All pilots to your fighters. This is not a drill. Sarah Blake strapped herself into her cockpit, running through the pre-flight checklist that had been drilled into her thousands of times. Her fighter's computer system activated, and she felt the subtle vibration that meant the quantum processors were coming online. Phoenix Squadron ready for launch, she reported. Around the solar system, similar squadrons were preparing for battle. Pilots who had trained for this moment their entire careers were about to prove that human determination could overcome alien technology. Colonel Ryan Hayes watched the alien fleet's movements on his tactical display. They're trying to reposition for a first strike, he reported. But they're moving exactly the way our simulations predicted they would. The Vorthak had built their military doctrine around the idea that they were the most advanced species in the galaxy. They had never faced an enemy that had spent years studying their tactics and preparing specific countermeasures. Admiral Morrison looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. They were scared but determined, ready to fight for their home and their freedom. All stations, he announced over the fleet communication system. This is Admiral Morrison. In 36 hours, the alien ultimatum expires. We will not surrender. We will not abandon our colonies. We will defend Earth and show the galaxy that humanity belongs among the stars. Commander Cesarek's final transmission was filled with cold fury. You have sealed your fate, humans. When our weapons reduce your world to ash, remember that this destruction comes from your own arrogance. Jake Morrison smiled grimly as he cut the communication. We'll see about that. The countdown had begun. The 72-hour deadline passed at exactly 14:27 Earth Standard Time. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the alien fleet hold its position around Earth. For 5 minutes, nothing happened. Then his communication system activated. Commander Cesarek's face filled the screen, his yellow eyes blazing with fury. Your time has expired, human. Surrender now, or face annihilation. Jake looked calmly at the reptilian commander. You should have listened to our diplomats. The transmission cut off. For a moment, space around Earth was perfectly still. Then Captain Roy Butler's voice crackled over the communication system. Alpha Strike Squadron ready for attack run. Roy commanded 12 fighters, Earth's newest and most advanced. To the alien sensors, they would appear to be humanity's desperate first strike, a futile gesture against overwhelming odds. Execute, Jake ordered. Roy's squadron launched from the UES Liberty, their fighters accelerating toward the massive Vorthak flagship. The alien ship was 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that could vaporize a city. Attacking it with 12 small fighters seemed like suicide. Commander Cesarek watched the approaching fighters with amusement. Look how they throw away their lives. Destroy them. The Vorthak weapons fired, filling space with deadly energy beams. Roy's fighters danced between the attacks, their movement seeming almost random. To the aliens, it looked like panicked evasion. It wasn't. Dr. Alex Carter monitored the battle from his command center, watching as the alien fleet focused all attention on the small fighter squadron. Phase 1 complete, he announced. All enemy, sensors locked on the decoy attack. Chief Engineer Megan Torres was ready at her control station. Hidden platforms charged and ready. Fire, Jake ordered. Across the solar system, the disguised mining stations revealed their true nature. The facility on Ceres fired first, its massive railgun sending a tungsten projectile screaming through space at 30,000 kilometers per second. The aliens had no time to react before the projectile tore through their formation. The Vorthak commander stared in shock as 3 of his ships simply vanished, vaporized by the impact. Impossible. Humans don't have kinetic weapons of this magnitude. But the attack was just beginning. The station orbiting Saturn fired next, then the one near Jupiter. Each shot was perfectly aimed, guided by quantum targeting systems that the aliens couldn't jam or detect. Lieutenant Commander Ben Phillips launched his squadron from the UES Defiance, leading 48 fighters into the chaos. His pilots had trained for this moment their entire careers, and they moved like a coordinated dance. Remember your training, Ben told his pilots. They think we're primitive. Let's show them what primitive humans can do. Pilot Sarah Blake dove her fighter between 2 alien cruisers, firing precisely targeted shots at their sensor arrays. The aliens expected human fighters to attack their weapons or engines. They didn't expect an attack designed to blind them. Phoenix. 3 to Phoenix leader, Sarah reported. Target sensors offline. They're flying blind. The Vorthak ships tried to adapt, but their rigid command structure worked against them. Each captain waited for orders from his superior, and each superior waited for analysis from the flagship. By the time orders reached the individual ships, the human fighters had already moved to new positions. Dr. Alex Carter activated the quantum communication network, linking every human ship and platform in the solar system. Information flowed between units instantly, allowing coordinated attacks that the aliens couldn't predict or counter. Quantum Node 7 reports successful strike on enemy command vessel, Dr. Jenny Walsh announced. Their communication network is fragmenting. The aliens had never faced an enemy with faster-than-light communications. Their own subspace radios created delays that humans could exploit. When a Vorthak captain called for assistance, help arrived. Seconds too late to matter. Commander Cesarek's flagship shuddered as another railgun projectile passed close enough to overload its shields. All ships full attack pattern. Destroy the human fleet. But the human fleet wasn't where the aliens expected it to be. Captain Lisa Ward had used her 3 years of diplomatic missions to map alien sensor capabilities. She knew exactly how their targeting systems worked and what they couldn't detect. The UES Defiant seemed to vanish from alien sensors, hidden by stealth technology that worked on principles the Confederation had never encountered. One moment it was visible, the next it had disappeared into what appeared to be empty space. Cloaking Field Stable, reported Lieutenant Amy Brooks. They can't lock onto us. Jake Morrison smiled grimly. All ships execute Shadow Protocol. Across the human fleet, advanced stealth systems activated. Ships that had seemed primitive and vulnerable suddenly became invisible ghosts, striking from unexpected angles and vanishing before the aliens could respond. The Vorthak fleet, designed to crush resistance through overwhelming firepower, found themselves fighting shadows. Their massive weapons were useless if they couldn't target their enemies. Chief Engineer Megan Torres coordinated the hidden platforms as they continued their devastating attacks. Platform Delta reports direct hit on enemy carrier. Platform Echo engaging enemy Battle Group 7. The mining station, disguised as an asteroid processing facility, had rotated its entire structure to bring more weapons to bear. What the aliens had thought was a simple industrial installation was actually a fortress that had been built specifically to destroy their fleet. Colonel Ryan Hayes monitored the battle from his command center, watching as alien formations began to collapse. Enemy morale is breaking, he reported. Their tight formations are falling apart. The Vorthak had built their military around the idea of perfect coordination and overwhelming force. They had never trained to fight an enemy that could disrupt their communications and attack from multiple directions simultaneously. Dr. Alex Carter made final adjustments to the quantum targeting system. Preparing for Phase 2, all units report ready for synchronized assault. The human fleet had been playing defense, using hit-and-run tactics to confuse and demoralize the enemy. Now it was time to show their true strength. All ships, Jake Morrison announced over the quantum communication network, execute Convergence Pattern Alpha. Every human ship and platform in the solar system suddenly appeared on alien sensors simultaneously. The stealth fields dropped, revealing the true size and capability of Earth's defense force. Commander Cesarek stared at his tactical display in horror. The humans had twice as many ships as his intelligence reports had indicated, and they were all equipped with technology that should have been impossible. How? He whispered. How did we not know? Lieutenant Commander Ben Phillips led his squadron in a coordinated assault on the alien flagship. His fighters moved in perfect formation, their quantum-linked computers calculating attack patterns in real time. Sarah Blake fired her weapons at the exact moment that 47 other pilots fired theirs. The concentrated firepower overwhelmed the flagship's shields and tore through its armor like paper. The massive Vorthak ship began to list, its engines failing and its weapons going offline. Emergency signals filled the alien communication channels as damage reports flooded in from across their fleet. Sir, Commander Cesarek's aide reported, his voice shaking. We've lost 30% of our ships. Our formation is broken. The humans are attacking from directions we can't predict. Sarek looked around his damaged bridge, finally understanding the magnitude of his mistake. The humans hadn't been asking for permission to join the galactic community. They had been offering to join as equals. Now they were proving that they deserved respect. Send a message to all remaining ships, Sarek ordered, his voice heavy with defeat. Retreat to minimum safe distance, we need to regroup. But as the alien ships tried to withdraw, they discovered that the humans had one more surprise waiting for them. The quantum platforms that had been hidden throughout the solar system weren't just weapons. They were also equipped with gravity, manipulation technology that could prevent faster-than-light travel. The Vorthak fleet was trapped, unable to escape the system they had come to conquer. The battle entered its second hour with the Vorthak fleet trapped in Earth's gravity well, unable to escape or call for reinforcements. Commander Sarek stood on his damaged bridge, watching his tactical display show the impossible. His superior forces were losing to the primitive humans. Captain Lisa Ward's intelligence reports were proving their worth in ways the aliens had never expected. Her detailed observations from 3 years of diplomatic missions had mapped every weakness in Confederation ship design. Target their reactor cooling systems, Lisa advised Commander Grace Kim, who was leading the human fleet's tactical operations. Their ships are more powerful than ours, but they generate massive amounts of heat. If we disrupt their cooling, they'll have to shut down their weapons. Grace nodded, relaying the targeting information to all human ships through the quantum communication network. All units, focus fire on enemy cooling vents. Make them choose between weapons and survival. The UES Liberty's fighters, led by Lieutenant Commander Ben Phillips, began systematically attacking the vulnerable points that Lisa had identified. What looked like random harassment was actually a carefully planned assault on critical systems. Pilot Sarah Blake dove her fighter toward a Vorthak cruiser, firing precise shots at the heat exchangers along its hull. Direct hit on cooling system 3, she reported. Enemy ship is reducing power to weapons. Across the alien fleet, the same scene played out dozens of times. Human fighters, using intelligence gathered through diplomacy, struck at exactly the right places to disable superior technology. Major Tom Silva was leading the first boarding operation in human history. His assault teams had trained for this moment, but nothing could have prepared them for the reality of fighting aliens on their own ships. Remember, Tom told his soldiers as their transport approached the damaged Vorthak flagship, they're specialized for specific roles. We're trained to adapt and improvise. Use that advantage. The alien ship's hull had been breached by human weapons, creating an entry point for Tom's boarding party. They moved through the corridors in small teams, their adaptive tactics confusing the alien defenders. The Vorthak crew consisted of specialized castes, warriors who could only fight, technicians who could only repair, and commanders who could only give orders. When the humans disrupted their chain of command, the aliens couldn't adapt to the changing situation. Sergeant Kate Logan led her squad through the alien ship's engineering section, using human intuition to understand systems that had been designed by reptilian minds. "Sir, I think I can overload their main reactor," she reported to Tom. "Negative," Tom replied. "We want the ship intact. Can you shut down their weapons instead?" Kate studied the alien control panel, its symbols meaningless, but its function obvious to anyone who had worked with machinery. "Give me 5 minutes." This was humanity's greatest advantage, the ability to understand and modify technology on the fly. While alien crews needed specialized training for every system, humans could figure out new equipment through trial and error. Dr. Alex Carter was monitoring the boarding operations from his command center, coordinating real-time intelligence sharing between the teams. "Tom, we're uploading alien ship schematics to your tablets as we decrypt them." The quantum communication network allowed human forces to share information instantly. Every discovery made by one boarding team was immediately available to all others. "Understood," Tom replied. Kate's team just figured out how to disable their artificial gravity. Uploading the procedure now. Within minutes, human teams on 3 different alien ships were using the same technique to disable their enemy's mobility while maintaining their own through magnetic boots. Chief Engineer Megan Torres was coordinating modifications to human ships during the battle itself. This was something the aliens had never encountered, an enemy that could upgrade their capabilities while fighting. UES Defiance, this is Luna Base, Megan announced. We're transmitting improved targeting algorithms based on current battle data. Your hit percentage should increase by 30%. The modular design of human ships, born from resource scarcity and the need to repair equipment far from home, proved superior to the aliens' rigid engineering. Human vessels could be modified, upgraded, and repaired during combat. Admiral Jake Morrison watched as his fleet's performance improved in real time. Megan, how quickly can you upgrade our shields? Already working on it, Megan replied. Analyzing alien weapon patterns now. Should have improved shield harmonics ready in 20 minutes. The Vorthak had never faced an enemy that learned and adapted during battle. Their military doctrine assumed that ship capabilities remained constant throughout an engagement. Commander Sasarek was receiving reports that defied everything he understood about warfare. What do you mean the humans are upgrading their ships during battle? That's impossible. His tactical officer, a young Vorthak named Thesik, studied the sensor readings with growing concern. Sir, their weapon efficiency has increased by 40% since the battle began. Their shield strength has improved by 25%. Ships don't get stronger during battle, Sasarek insisted. Human ships do, Thesik replied quietly. The truth was becoming undeniable. Humanity had developed an entirely different approach to warfare, where the Confederation relied on overwhelming force and superior technology. Humans emphasized adaptability and continuous improvement. Dr. Alex Carter received a priority communication from the outer solar system. Admiral Morrison, we're getting reports from our monitoring stations. 3 more Confederation fleets are en route to Earth. Jake felt a moment of concern before Alex continued. However, we're also receiving signals from other human fleets. It appears we're not the only ones who've been preparing for this day. The truth was that humanity had been building hidden fleets throughout the galaxy. While the aliens thought they were observing all human military assets, they had actually been seeing only what humans wanted them to see. Captain Roy Butler, who had led the initial decoy attack, was now commanding a strike force that had been secretly constructed in the asteroid belt. Admiral, Strike Force Delta ready to engage incoming enemy reinforcements. Similar messages came from Strike Force Echo, hidden in the outer rim, and Strike Force Alpha, which had been disguised as a merchant convoy. The aliens had been so focused on Earth's obvious defenses that they had missed the true scope of human military preparation. Commander Grace Kim coordinated the fleet movements with inhuman precision, using quantum computers to calculate attack patterns that maximized human advantages while minimizing their weaknesses. All human ships, Grace announced, execute Formation Omega. We're going to show these aliens what happens when you underestimate an entire species. The remaining Vorthak ships found themselves facing a coordinated assault from multiple directions. Human fighters struck at their weak points, boarding parties disabled their key systems, and hidden platforms continued their devastating long-range attacks. Major Tom Silva's boarding teams had captured 3 alien ships and were learning to operate their advanced technology. Dr. Carter, we've accessed their navigation computers. They have detailed maps of the entire Confederation. Upload everything, Alex replied. We need to know what we're really fighting. The data revealed the true scope of the Galactic Confederation. Hundreds of species spanning thousands of star systems, all controlled by the Vorthak Empire through superior technology and military force. But the data also revealed something else. Other species that had been conquered and forced into submission, species that might welcome liberation from Vorthak rule. Admiral Morrison studied the intelligence reports as they streamed in. Lisa, how many of these species joined the Confederation voluntarily? Captain Lisa Ward reviewed the data with growing excitement. According to this, sir, almost none of them. The Vorthak have been conquering and enslaving other species for centuries. Then we're not just fighting for Earth, Jake realized. We're fighting for the freedom of the entire galaxy. The battle was no longer about human survival. It had become about liberation from tyranny, about proving that a species could resist Confederation dominance and win. Commander Susarak's flagship was now dead in space, its systems disabled by human boarding parties. As he watched his fleet crumble around him, he finally understood the magnitude of his empire's mistake. The humans hadn't been asking for permission to exist. They had been offering partnership to equals. When that offer was rejected, they had prepared to take their place in the galaxy by force, and they were winning. The battle ended not with destruction, but with surrender. Commander Susarak stood in the damaged command center of his flagship, surrounded by human soldiers who had taken his ship without firing a shot. His weapons were disabled, his crew was captured, and his fleet was scattered. Admiral Jake Morrison materialized on the alien bridge through a transportation system that the Vorthak hadn't known humans possessed. He looked around at the advanced technology that had failed to save its creators from human determination. "Commander Susarak," Jake said calmly, "I believe we need to discuss terms." The reptilian commander stared at the human admiral with a mixture of disbelief and grudging respect. "You have defeated the mightiest fleet in Confederation space. What terms could there be?" "The same terms we offered your diplomats 3 years ago," Jake replied. "Peace, cooperation, and mutual respect." Susarak's forked tongue flickered nervously. "You would offer peace to those who came to destroy you?" "We would offer peace to those who are willing to accept it," Jake corrected. "Captain Ward spent years trying to establish diplomatic relations. Your people refused to listen. Now you have no choice but to hear what we have to say." Captain Lisa Ward entered the alien bridge, carrying a tablet with the same peace treaties she had tried to negotiate years earlier. The documents that had been dismissed as the fantasies of a primitive species now carried the weight of undeniable military victory. "The terms are simple," Lisa explained to Susarak. "Humanity will be recognized as an equal member of the galactic community. Human colonies will be respected. Human ships will have free passage through Confederation space." "And in return?" Susarak asked. "In return, we share our technology and tactical innovations with species that choose to ally with us. We defend those who cannot defend themselves. We bring the same creativity and adaptability that won this battle to the challenges of peace." Dr. Alex Carter joined the group, bringing with him data tablets containing human technological advances. "Commander, your people believed that faster-than-light quantum communication was impossible. We've proven otherwise. Your scientists claimed that adaptive AI systems couldn't work in combat. We've demonstrated their effectiveness." Alex handed Susarak a tablet displaying the quantum communication network that had coordinated the human victory. "This technology could revolutionize galactic civilization. No more delays in communication between star systems. Instant coordination across vast distances." "Why would you share this with us?" Susarak asked suspiciously. "Because isolation makes everyone weaker," Jake replied. "Your empire conquered other species through superior technology. We're offering to raise everyone to the same level." The concept was revolutionary. The Galactic Confederation had been built on the principle that some species were naturally superior to others. Humanity was proposing a galaxy where advancement came through cooperation rather than conquest. Chief Engineer Megan Torres appeared on the communication screen from Luna Base. "Admiral, we're receiving surrenders from Vorthak fleets throughout the sector. Word of our victory is spreading faster than their reinforcements can respond." The truth was that humanity's preparation had extended far beyond Earth's solar system. While the aliens thought they were fighting one isolated world, they were actually facing a coordinated resistance that had been building for years. Major Tom Silva reported from the captured alien ships. "Sir, we've accessed their military databases. The information we're finding is extraordinary. The data revealed the true extent of Vorthak oppression throughout the galaxy. Hundreds of species had been conquered and forced into submission. Their technologies had been suppressed, their cultures erased, their people reduced to slaves serving the Confederation. But the data also revealed something else. Secret resistance movements on dozens of worlds, waiting for someone to show them that the Vorthak could be defeated. Dr. Alex Carter studied the alien databases with growing excitement. "Admiral, we're not just looking at military intelligence. This is a complete map of galactic civilization, and according to this data, at least 60% of Confederation species are being held against their will." President Karen Bell's voice came through the quantum communication system from Earth. "Admiral Morrison, the Global Defense Council, has reviewed the situation. We're authorizing you to negotiate on behalf of all humanity." Jake nodded, understanding the weight of responsibility that had just been placed on his shoulders. The decisions made in the next few hours would determine humanity's place in the galaxy for generations to come. "Commander Cesarek," Jake said, formally, "I'm prepared to offer your people a choice. You can continue fighting a war you cannot win, or you can help us build something better." "What exactly are you proposing?" Cesarek asked. Captain Lisa Ward stepped forward with her diplomatic expertise. "A new galactic organization based on voluntary membership and mutual cooperation. Species that want to remain independent can do so. Those that want to join a larger community can contribute their strengths and benefit from shared knowledge." "And the Vorthak Empire?" Sarek asked quietly. "The Vorthak Empire as a conquering force ends today," Jake said firmly. "But the Vorthak people can have a place in the new galaxy if they choose cooperation over domination." It was a radical proposition. For centuries, the Vorthak had believed that their superiority gave them the right to rule other species. Now, they were being offered equality instead of destruction. Commander Grace Kim appeared on the communication screen. "Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Species that have been under Confederation control are declaring independence. The humans who defeated the Vorthak are being hailed as liberators. The victory at Earth had triggered a galactic revolution. Species that had been conquered decades or centuries earlier were finally seeing a chance for freedom." Dr. Alex Carter began implementing the technology-sharing protocols that had been prepared for this moment. "We're transmitting quantum communication technology to any world that requests it. Within days, every free species in the galaxy will be able to communicate instantly." The transformation was unprecedented. The rigid hierarchical structure of the Confederation was being replaced by a flexible network of independent worlds choosing their own level of participation. Lieutenant Commander Ben Phillips reported from his fighter squadron. "Sir, we're escorting alien ships to designated safe zones. No further hostilities detected." Pilot Sarah Blake added her observations from the cockpit. "The alien crews seem more relieved than defeated. Some of them are actually thanking us." The truth was that many members of the Confederation military had been unwilling participants in Vorthak expansion. Soldiers from conquered worlds who had been forced to fight for their oppressors were now seeing a chance for genuine freedom. Major Tom Silva's boarding teams were working with alien crews to restore damaged systems and provide humanitarian aid. "These aren't our enemies," Tom reported. "Most of them never wanted to be here in the first place." Chief Engineer Megan Torres was coordinating the establishment of the new Galactic Communication Network. "All primary nodes online. We now have instant communication with 47 star systems and counting." The quantum network that had won the battle was becoming the foundation for galactic peace. Species that had been isolated for generations could now share knowledge, culture, and friendship across vast distances. Admiral Morrison looked out at the stars, knowing that humanity had earned its place among them, not through submission, but through strength and the willingness to fight for what was right. "Commander Cesarek," Jake said, "your people have a choice to make. You can join us in building a better galaxy, or you can face the consequences of your past actions alone." Cesarek looked around at the humans who had defeated his fleet, and then offered them mercy. It was not a concept that existed in Vorthak. "Military doctrine. What would membership in this new organization require?" he asked. "Recognition of the equality of all sentient species," Lisa replied. "An end to conquest and forced subjugation. Contribution to the common defense of free worlds. And, in return, access to technologies that will advance your civilization by centuries. Protection from external threats. A voice in galactic governance proportional to your contribution to the common good." It was everything the Vorthak had tried to achieve. Through conquest, offered freely through cooperation. President Karen Bell's voice came through the communication system one final time. Admiral Morrison, the people of Earth are proud of what you've accomplished today. You've not only defended our world, you've changed the galaxy. Jake Morrison smiled as he looked out at the alien fleet that had come to destroy humanity and was now accepting human leadership. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had proven that strength came not from technology or numbers, but from the willingness to fight for freedom and offer that same freedom to others. Set course for Earth, Jake ordered. We have a new galactic government to organize. The age of Vorthak domination was over. The age of human leadership had begun.